Hi guys, welcome back to another long jump series video. You don't necessarily need to know the last two videos, one to do with the takeoff and one to do with the run up. In this video in particular, what we are going to be focusing on is what our body does while we're in the air. Now, if you could smash subscribe, that would really help this channel out a lot. You can also check out our Facebook pages, one to do specifically on training, but also another one just on what the club does. Also, we train down at Garren's at Southend, so if you want to join the club, you can do. We will train your children personally. At this point in the jump, we've got to avoid over-rotating forward. If we don't get our legs out in front in time and bring our arms forward, we risk over-rotating. And if we over-rotate, you effectively move forward and you kill that arc. You kill that lovely arc we generated from the run-up. And in theory, you don't jump as far.
Now, just a reminder of what happens at takeoff. The vertical impulse is achieved by the upward acceleration on the free limbs, the arms and the non-takeoff leg against the brace leg on the ground. The brace leg, the takeoff leg. These movements should be characterized by short radius, fast explosive actions. And this initiates the vertical jump.
Try and drive up a box with in this action with your knee in the air. That also helps. Working another area of the body that often gets ignored is your arms. Trying to drive up and get into this position with your chest forward. Hips up, hips forward, chest forward, and driving the arms back. Or driving the arms back in order to help generate the height. At this point in the long jump, it's all about generation of height going forward in that direction.
The speed and lift generated on the runway and through the takeoff can result in a good distance. After takeoff, the athletes tend to have a forward rotation that, if not corrected, will result with the feet hitting the sand early and a loss of distance in the jump. The cyclic forward movements of the leg and the arms, as seen in the hitch kick, for example, will correct this forward rotation. Nonetheless, having your arms back and pushing your hips forward, if you're strong enough, can also prevent this. Now, there are three main styles of flight through the air when we do long jump: the stride, the hang and the hitch kick. For the stride jump style, the athlete maintains a takeoff position for as long as possible, and only as the athlete comes into the land does the takeoff leg join the free leg for a good landing position. It basically looks like you're trying to hurdle through the air and then bring your legs together for your leg shoot. Now, out of the three styles of jump, this is the one that's least used. It is also the one that uses the least amount of needs the least amount of technical efficiency in order to be able to perform. Therefore, you see a lot of youngsters or beginners utilize this style of long jump when they first begin before moving on to maybe a hang technique. The hang technique, which involves the athlete seemingly looking like they're hanging in the air with their arms behind them, with their legs behind them, but the hips forced forwards. The arms go overhead to slow down the rotation about the athlete's centre of gravity, and only do the legs and the arms come together for the leg shoot in order to prevent over-rotation. And they only do this at the last minute in order to make sure you gain as much distance as you possibly can with a good leg shoot. The hitch kick is like a cycling action through the air with the legs and arms in a windmill action with the arms. Now, there are two types of hitch kick. You've got the new version, the hybrid version of the hitch hang, and you've got the traditional cycling windmill hitch kick. Hitch kick is often used by individuals who, for whatever reason, don't seem to get much height or vertical height of the board, and therefore rotating the legs around helps to extend that amount of time in the air. But also for people who over-rotate on the hang technique and often come down early, to prevent that, you have this cycling windmill action of the hitch kick, which prevents them over-rotating on that arc. In reality, when we do the long jump itself, the movements through the air don't necessarily gain you distance as per se, but instead prevent over or under rotation, making sure you're able to get your leg shoot out and able to claw and get as much distance as possible. With it, the distance is generated from the run up and the takeoff. You might not necessarily be able to gain distance when during the flight phase of the long jump, but you certainly can lose it from over or under rotation. Now with the hang, or the classic hang in particular, you drive the freestanding leg up and push your hips forward and move your arms and legs back in order to create that classic C-like pose. The open the hips out help us to get our leg shoot out. Now the arms need to move through and over throughout the process of the long jump, moving from their backwards behind the body position over into their forward leg shoot position. Now the second main type of long jump style is the hitch kick, and there is a hybrid variation of the hitch kick and the hang, although not very often used. It's often used by people who are moving on from a hang style into a hitch kick. The hitch hang involves the bottom half being more of a hitch kick style with a slight bit of a hang possibly, and the arms of a hang technique. Now the difference with this guy's variation is that he's forcing his leg a lot further forward, almost like a stride technique. Now what is different about the hitch hang technique is the motion off the board is like a running action. Yes, you can get different styles. In the normal hang technique you can utilize the operation of running off the board. However, that's more reserved for the hitch kick. And the reason being it's more reserved for the hitch kick is because you're running off the board and pushing that leg out and cycling that leg through rather than hanging in the air. Now the hitch hang revolves around you being able to have your leg, your front leg, further out in front of you, almost like a hitch kick, while the freestanding leg is brought out in front and the standing leg is brought in behind, almost like a hang. The signature of the hitch kick is the arms working like a windmill. However, in most times they work counterintuitively to the rest of the body. By working in opposite directions with your arms going backwards and your legs rotating forward, you prevent the over rotation that could kill your long jump flight. The main problem with the hang technique is that when we are doing the hang, we are trying to drive our hips forward and push our legs and arms behind us. Now this can create under rotation if you do this far too early within the jump. Now it can look impressive when you bring your leg shoot out, but that's only because with the hang technique it enables us greater ability to be able to get that leg shoot out. But what it does, it decreases that parabellum. It can prevent us, or if you like, create an under rotation when we rotate backwards, preventing us from getting the height, getting that perfect arc, perfectly smooth arc. Now having our head up, looking up rather than looking forward, can also increase the chance of under rotation or rotating backwards. There is also a risk that we don't drive up and do that so-called Russian horse jump, that lunge in the air. And that's enable us to drive off the board and get into the height and allow us to get our flight action, get our hang out. If we don't do that, then that can create potentially great massive backwards rotation or massive forward rotation, which in turn kills the flight and means you get less distant. Now the main problem with over rotation in the hitch kick is that if we don't get into that Russian horse jump technique, or we leave that Russian horse jump and go straight leading with that front leg straight out in front, it creates an imbalance throughout the air. And through rotational and forward momentum and forces, it throws us down into the sandpit, therefore killing that parabellum, that arc, and resultantly less distance. You don't jump as far. Now what I mean by a Russian horse jump, it's that technique of driving up into that lunge position with the free leg out in front and the driving takeoff leg behind. This is what you do on takeoff that will mimic what you do in the air, as shown by these Russian athletes we filmed in Alphamar. Now, how we hit the board ultimately depends on what style of technique we're utilizing for our flight. If we run off the board, we're going to more likely be able to do a hitch kick, or more likely be doing a hitch kick. If we are placing it underneath us and dragging, we're more likely doing a hang technique. But this is not set in stone. There is no one method throughout the air that will make you jump further. However, it's all down to personal preference. Some of the biggest jumps in history have been from the hitch, or they've been from the hang, or they've been from a hybrid, or they've been from something that no one has ever seen before. Whatever you do should be best for you. It doesn't matter which style you utilise, as long as you get a massive jump from it. And it best works around your limitations and what you do best as a long jumper. I'm Adam McCarthy of SSA Athletics. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe and check out all our Facebook pages as well as us at Garren's, and I will jump into the next video with you.